Metronom. These are regional trains in the north of Germany, and Metronom is actually the biggest private railway company within Germany. Even though these trains do cover some distances that might be considered as intercity distances in other countries, these are still regional trains. But there's something special about them to me, and therefore I really wanted to cover these trains in one of my videos as well. I'll tell you why in this video. Join me on board this Metronom train here in the north of Germany. I'll be taking it from Bremen to Hamburg, but you find them on other routes as well. I'll tell you all about that in the video. And these trains are a great alternative on the ICE trains on some sections, for example the Bremen-Hamburg corridor. For now, let's get this video on the track and let's roll the intro. Even though you find Metronom trains on several routes, today we'll be covering line RE4 from Bremen Hauptbahnhof, what is the main station in the German city of Bremen, to Hamburg Hauptbahnhof, what is the main station in the German city of Hamburg. And the reason why these are special trains to me might surprise you, but I'll tell you this a little bit later on in the video. Before we do a lot of this, let's take a closer look on the route map for the Metronom trains. Between Bremen and Hamburg you will find two trains. One train is an all-station service and the other train only serves some bigger railway stations and it's not that much slower compared to an intercity train along this route. Then you have the same story between Hamburg and Hanover, and some trains also go to Göttingen. There's also a subsidiary of Metronom, but I won't dig in that. Bremen is Germany's 11th largest city with a population of around 560,000 people, a bit more. At the front of the railway station you do find quite a lot of bus stops, the tram stop, and on the other side from the bus and the tram stop there's a taxi stand and a pick-up and drop-off zone for railway passengers by car. The city center of Bremen, what for my non-European friends is also the Old Town, is not too far away from here either. At the bus stop there's also a small kiosk. And information about departing buses and trams from here has been displayed at the moment you leave the main railway station building. For now, let's head into that main railway station building. This here is the main concourse, where you obviously find lots of shops, but at this area here you also find most railway related services. For example, you find access to the lounge over here. Well, if you're traveling in first class on board this train that we'll be taking today, you won't have lounge access. You need to have a special status for this or specific tickets for long distance trains. So I couldn't film in the lounge, unfortunately. However, from this area you do have a nice view on the main concourse, as you can see over here. Apart from many commercial areas, obviously places where you can buy food, drugstore, supermarket, etc. You also find an information point for train tickets. There are quite some vending machines over here. And here you find the DB Reisezentrum, or basically the DB Ticket Center. Here you can buy tickets for both regional and long distance trains. Even though infrastructure to buy your tickets online is really good as well. I do have an affiliate link to Trainline as well, you can find it in the description of this video. A bit more at the side, you find some left luggage lockers, but keep in mind in Germany this is pretty often cash only. Within the main concourse there are some places where you can take a seat, but honestly it's not that much compared to the amount of passengers that will use this railway station. If you go to the platforms, you find clear screens that will host route information about departing trains from here. I had some time left when I was here. I had about 1 hour to film the railway station and I was a bit hungry, so I went to Vincent V here on the left. This is all plant-based burgers and it's really good. Really advise you to go there. You find them in other places in Germany as well. The tunnel that leads to all the platform hosts a lot of shops as well, and therefore it's rather busy over here. You find some information screens as well, and from and to all platforms you obviously find stairs, but also elevators, and to most platforms also escalators. Even though most railway related services can be found at the front of the railway station, Nordwestbahn, for example, what is another small regional railway operator, has a service point over here as well. Apart from that, you also find toilets within this underground passage. Directions have been marked pretty clear. I mean, the layout of the railway station isn't too difficult when it comes to that. At the total back of the railway station, there is another taxi stand and pick-up and drop-off zone for railway passengers by car. And if you arrive here by bike, but most likely if you watch this video you are not a local, there are some spots where you can park your bike as well, although it doesn't seem like a real parking garage for bikes as I'm used to in the Netherlands, for example. Even though in the Netherlands where I'm from, but also Denmark, we are really spoiled when it comes to bike infrastructure. Also in this part of Germany, quite some people do travel by bike. Apart from the big screens at the moment you move to the platform that will host route information about departing trains. At the moment you are in the underground passage and go to the platform, you also find clear screens about departing trains from that specific platform. And today my train departed from track number 9. And the platforms themselves, they're not that special to be honest. Metronom is refurbishing their entire fleet. However, at the moment of recording, you might still find some, non-refurbished trains. And that's exactly what I had. So I didn't film the interior of this specific train. Even though the train that left 1 hour before was a refurbished train. So before we go into the train, let's take a closer look at the exterior. The numbers 1 and 2 at the side do indicate the first and the second class, and digital screens at the side do indicate some route information, so the train number and the final destination. Apart from that, you find the dedicated bike areas, but there's not much else I can say about this. These are regional trains, where the non-refurbished trains used to have something like a quiet area. You won't find that in the refurbished trains. Nevertheless, I think this refurbishment is an upgrade. For now, let's take a closer look at the interior of the train, and once again these are the refurbished trains. At the very end or beginning of the train, depending what way the train is moving, at the upper deck you will find the first class. Well, the first class in many German regional trains isn't that much better compared to second class. Over here, I like it. There are some dedicated luggage racks as well, the seats are wider and, well, it's just all a bit more spacious. The seats also look pretty comfortable. Let's try one of them out. The amount of legroom is very reasonable, and I have to add up to this, I'm rather tall, so it might look tighter than it is. There's a footrest. For the airline style seats, a fold-out table in the seat in front of you. All windows do have a sunscreen, also on second class by the way. You will find a reading light, and there are even some screens that should be able to host information about reservations, even though reservations cannot be made on board of these trains. At the side there are some power sockets, and integrated within the tables at the moment the seats do face each other, you find a small litter bin. Screens in the compartments all over the train do host route information, and this is pretty detailed. Apart from that, basic LED screens do host some basic route information as well. Over here at the lower deck you will find the accessible area. Pretty often the accessible area, well, this is also where you find the accessible toilet, and this is also an area that's most suitable for if you're traveling with little kids. And this accessible toilet is just huge, especially for a regional train. As a matter of fact, I was kind of impressed with the size of this toilet. Apart from that, these toilets are not that special. Most importantly, it was clean during this ride. But as a father of, not too old kids, what I like most is that you have the diaper changing facility. I think this should be in much more trains in general. And of course, for those who need this, you will find the necessary support bars. That's it, let's move on. The area for the push cars has also been marked crystal clear. Honestly, I think I see more push cars in trains than wheelchairs, but maybe this is my personal bubble at this very moment. At the upper deck of the carriage I just showed you, you will find the first class. Here on the left there was a special area for the train staff, although the train staff is in general moving around in the train. Now let's move on to the second carriage, and this carriage here is also different from the rest of the train, and then especially the lower deck. Over here you can take a lot of bikes, and let me tell you one thing, this is also pretty popular in Germany and especially in the summertime. You don't need to make a reservation for your bike, but of course full is full when it comes to this. Even though you can't make a reservation, the carriage numbers have been numbered as well. At the vestibules, there is some more information about the route map, about general information about Metronom, you name it. Now let's move on to the rest of the train, and the rest is basically all the same. You find the upper and the lower deck, and the layout is pretty much the same everywhere. These are double-deck trains, and double-deck trains are in general pretty good. However, for luggage, the overhead luggage racks are in double-deck trains pretty much always disappointing. And even though these are regional trains, so mainly being used for commuters, you do find some dedicated luggage racks as well on board of these trains. In general, if you're traveling with a lot of luggage, the lower deck is better than the upper deck. I hope you liked this video so far, or that it's a helpful video to you. If so, please give me a thumbs up, I really appreciate that. If you have some questions, feedback or comments, if you just want to say hello, feel free to leave a comment. And at last, if you'd like to see more trip reports about more sustainable way of transportation, the main focus for this channel is long distance and or international traveling, then hit that subscribe button if you haven't done this already. For now, let's continue with this video. And let's move on to the rest of second class. Over here I also noticed some seats that can potentially be reserved. But I don't think this will be happening a lot. Maybe in the future they want to plan this for these trains as well. I know in Germany there are some regional trains where you can reserve seats. This is how the regular toilets are on board of these trains. You find quite a lot of them, basically at least one in every carriage. Pretty fine, nothing special. As pretty often I like the pictures at the wall of the toilets. It just gives it a kind of different atmosphere. At the vestibules you also find some seats, although it's not really worth mentioning. What I like about the design of these trains is that it's really open. You basically are easily at the upper and at the lower deck. Even though I didn't test it out, free Wi-Fi is available on board of these trains. The majority of the seats do come in an airline style composition, but you find some seats in, classical train composition, so facing each other as well. These are locomotive hauled trains, so they're pretty quiet because the engine is at the total back or of the front of the train. And I mean, even though these trains are not super special, I kind of like them, to be honest. I mean, these are good regional trains. The first class is pretty good as well. The bike area is huge and there are quite a lot of seats. I mean, these are long trains. In general, and this is not only for this train, if trains are long, try to spread out over the platform. What I notice pretty often is that one part of the train is super busy, while the other side of the train is pretty much empty. For now, let's do a seat review of the second class seats in airline style composition. Even here, there's a small footrest, but I wouldn't use it that quick, to be honest. The amount of legroom is obviously way less than in first class, but it's still pretty good. There's a sturdy fold-out table in front of you, and you find a laptop thing as well. You can pull out to work on a laptop for here. Even here you find reading lights, and obviously you find sunscreens both at the upper and lower decks. Power sockets are not located near all seats, but near most seats you do find them though, and mainly the seats facing each other. Speaking of which, at the moment seats do face each other, you find a small litter bin integrated within the table at the side. Priority seats have been mentioned, but pretty often in European trains. I don't think that this is clear enough. For now I'll show you some views I had from the train between Bremen and Hamburg. And I also tell you why these trains are kind of special to me. I did a part of my bachelor study in Osnabrück in Germany. This was a part of Erasmus program. Basically, I really had a good time over there, even though it's not far from the Netherlands, but I decided to do this pretty last minute, so I didn't have a lot to choose from anymore. But actually, I'm happy I did that. Unlike the Netherlands, where I'm from, foreign students, even Erasmus students in Germany, do get a public transport card. At this moment it's just a D ticket, so you can travel in all regional trains in also regional public transportation within Germany. But back then I could only use the city buses in Osnabrück and most regional trains in Lower Saxony and some neighboring states in Germany. And the connection between Osnabrück and Hamburg with regional trains is actually really good. However, as far as I understood, maybe I'm wrong on this, if you know this let me know in the comments. Back then, all different universities made individual agreements with the transportation companies, and we were not allowed to use the Metronom trains. And even though regional trains in Germany are really affordable, well, as a student with not too much money in my pocket, I actually only went to Hamburg once by train. So this is why there's still some kind of magic around the brand Metronom to me. And even though this all feels like yesterday, this is actually about 15 to 16 years ago. In a way, it's scary how fast everything's going. Shortly about train tickets. The best way to book train tickets is actually the website for the German state-owned railway company DB, even though I do have an affiliate link to Trainline as well in the description of this video. That's also pretty good actually. However, there are so many regional offers for train tickets, this is why the DB website is best. Also, you have the so-called D-tickets. This is a ticket where you can travel unlimited with all regional public transportation in Germany, at least most of it. I'm not digging in that too much. That's also valid on board of these trains. For now, I just really stop talking and show you some more views from the train between Bremen and Hamburg. Here, the train is arriving at Hamburg. From Hamburg on, I shot some more videos. I even went up north to Denmark. And this is some content I shot back then, because I forgot to do the outro at the spot, so I'm doing it right now with the use of a voiceover. Anyway, I hope you liked this video and or this has been helpful to you. If so, please give me a thumbs up, I really appreciate that. If you have some questions, feedback or comments, feel free to leave a comment obviously. And if you'd like to see more Trip Report, the main focus for this channel is long distance and or international traveling, so not on trains like these, but well, sometimes I do this as well, then hit that subscribe button if you haven't done this already. In the description of this video you might find related videos, and there's also a link to a map where you can find all videos as well, but then on a map. Once again, thank you for watching and see you on the next video.